Welcome to CIT 157 Module 7-2. In this module I will talk about more practical network security issues. Network Essential Chapter 12 will be covered. An enterprise network is vulnerable to many types of network attacks. While network attacks can't be prevented 100%, there are some steps that can be taken to minimize the impact an attack has on the network. Let's talk about these topics one by one. User authentication. Computer security relies on authentication, or proving who you are, for controlling access to data. There are three forms of access to prove who you are. For user authentication, you may use something users know like PIN, images, username, and password. There are several password cracking. The dictionary attack uses known passwords and many variations, upper and lower case and combinations, to try to log into your account. A brute force attack means the attackers uses every possible combination of characters for the password. If users use weak passwords, it would be to be cracked by dictionary attack or brute force attack. To prevent this, don't use dictionary words for passwords, don't use username as password, don't use your username backwards, limit the number of login attempts, use long enough and an alphanumeric combinations, and change password often. This is also a type of what you know password. Drawing 3 gestures on your picture, and repeating them 3 times, sets your picture password options. You can verify users with what they have like smart card. You can use users' biometrics to verify them. These are types of biometrics you may use. Using biometrics is convenience and more secure. However, even though there are cheap devices for biometrics, for accurate system, it is expensive choice. Malwares and other security attacks. Nowadays, malware is the term that is being used to encompass all malicious programs intended to harm, disrupt, deny, or gain unauthorized access to a computing system. Malware is short for malicious software. Viruses, adware, spyware, and worms are considered a type infectious malware. Adware is software that displays sponsored advertisements. Some pop-ups are legitimate and increase functionality of the originating site. Spyware, an unwanted piggyback program that usually downloads with other software you install from the internet and runs in the background to send your information like password, credit card information. A virus is a malicious piece of code that, when run on your machine, will open a backdoor to the machine, or it might start a program that attacks other applications. Worms are a type of computer virus that typically proliferate by themselves. Today, most viruses are exchanged via attachments to email. To prevent viruses, you do only open attachments that come from known sources. Always run a virus check software on the client machines. Include email server filters. Keep the virus software up to date. Antivirus software is specifically designed to detect viruses and protect your computer and files from harm. Symantec, Kaspersky, Average, and McAfee are among the companies that offer highly rated antivirus software packages. Antivirus protection is also included in comprehensive Internet security packages such as Norton Internet Security, Kaspersky Internet Security, and McAfee Total Protection. These software packages also help protect you from threats other than computer viruses. Spam is unwanted or junk email. Spam is unsolicited instant messages. Use spam filer in your email. Read website privacy policies and don't give the site permission to pass on your email address. Also, do not reply to spam. Cookies are small text files that some websites automatically store on your hard drive when you visit them. When you log on to a website that uses cookies, a cookie file assigns an ID number to the computer. The unique ID is intended to make your return visit to a website more efficient and better geared to your interests. The next time you log on to that site, the site marks your visit and keeps track of it in its database. Cookies should not pose any security threat. Denial of service, DOS, means that a service is being denied to a computer, network, or network server. DOS attacks is network disrupted by a flood of messages that prevents messages from normal users. Flooding web servers, email servers, and other server cannot respond. You can have denial of service attacks by exploiting software vulnerabilities. Another denial of service attack is a SYN attack. This refers to the TCP SYN, synchronizing, packet. An attacker sends many TCP SYN packets to a host, opening up many TCP sessions. The host machine has limited amount of memory set aside for open connections. If all the TCP connections are opened by the SYN attack, other users are kept from accessing services from the computer because the connection buffer is full. For SMUF attack, attackers hack into an intermediate site. Then the attacker sends a packet to a broadcast address for a network. All of the machines on the network will send a reply back to the source address. Then an enormous amount of data packets will be sent to the victim's network. Distributed DOS, come from many different computers. Attackers may use worms to distribute an attack. The attacker will do a port scan and look for an open port that is vulnerable to an attack. DOS agents on several machines are controlled by a DOS handler, may issue instructions to computers to send simultaneous messages to a target computer. To prevent your network from becoming a host for an attacker, use access lists to only allow specific sources for the network on each of the router's interfaces. This does help eliminate spoofed packets. IP spoofing means the attacker doesn't use his IP address but will insert an IP address from the victim's network as the source IP. There is a lot of software on the internet that enables someone to spoof an IP address. You can also use firewalls to try to prevent. Firewalls are used in computer networks for protection against the network elements, for example, intrusions, denial of service attacks, etc. I will talk about this more later. However, there is no 100% blocking if you have connected to network. Another way attackers can obtain a password is by sniffing the network's data packets. The attacker will have to insert a device, hubs, on the network that allows the user to see the data packets. Many of Telnet, FTP, or other applications pass the username and password over the network in plain text. Plain text means that the information is in a human-readable form. If the attacker captures all data packets from a user's computer, then the chances are good that the attacker can obtain the user's login name and password on one of the network's computers. The way to prevent this is by encrypting data like the username and password. An encrypted alternative to Telnet is SSH, Secure Shell. SSL, Secure Socket Layer, is an encryption used by web servers. There is also a secured version of FTP. Security can also be implemented at layer 3 using IPsec, IP security. In the process of writing large amounts of code, errors happen that can open the access to the code and to a network. The basic attack that capitalizes on these errors is the buffer overflow. The computer program stack contains data plus instructions that it will run. The buffer overflow happens when a program attempts to put more data into a buffer than it was configured to hold. For example, if the attacker makes the URL long enough, then the buffer overflow could allow the attacker's code to be placed in the stack. When the program counter gets to the inserted code is run and the attacker then has remote access to the machine. Sometimes buffer overflows don't allow instructions to be run, but rather the application will crash. A common technique that is used in a buffer overflow application is setting up a backdoor to gain entry into the computer. To prevent this issue, you need to keep the software patches and service packs for the operating system current. Also, turn off all services and ports that are not needed on a machine. You can monitor who is connected to your machine and the port number by using netstat.